Welcome everyone, I'm Diane from Diane's Patisserie. So glad to have you joining me in my beautiful new renovated kitchen, which I love so much. I'm having so much fun baking here. So today we're going to be making a flourless chocolate torte, which is also gluten-free and dairy-free. And we sell this quite often to those people who want a fabulous chocolate dessert and they can still eat it because it's gluten-free and dairy-free. Get a lot of requests for that. So we're going to be starting our procedure. One of the things that you have to know is we will be baking it in an 8-inch closed bottom pan, and we always put a piece of parchment paper in the bottom, which makes it easier to get it out of the pan. We're also spraying the pan with a non-flour spray. So in case you use any of these sprays, make sure if you're doing this dessert and you want it to be gluten-free that it has no flour. So we just spray it around the outside and the edges, and the parchment paper takes care of the bottom, so you don't really need to spray the bottom. We've also preheated our oven to 400 degrees, and we bake this cake in a water bath like you would a cheesecake or any kind of a baked custard, because it basically tastes like a mousse but bakes like a cake. So now I'm going to turn on my burner, and I am melting 8 ounces of margarine because I want this to be dairy free. If you want it to be with dairy, you can use butter. So I'm putting this in my pot, turning my pot on high, getting it all in here. At the same time, I am warming up 3/4 of a cup of instant coffee. I use espresso coffee because we really like the way it gives an extra flavor. You can also brew coffee on your coffee maker, but you need 3/4 of a cup of hot coffee, which is then going to melt 1 pound of, we have dairy-free chocolate chips, but you can use any chocolate chips you like or any chocolate you like. But it's 1 pound to 8 ounces of margarine or butter. So I'm just going to put this in the microwave for a few seconds to warm it up. Once this margarine melts, then we have sugar that we're adding to this, and we leave it with the burner off, but we mix it through thoroughly. Then that's going to go in our mixer. We're going to add our chocolate, then we're going to add our eggs one at a time to get everything to about the same temperature, and then we'll be baking it in a water bath. So I'm just going to pop this in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Just so it will be hot enough to melt the chocolate. The other ingredients, which we're also melting, will be hot enough to incorporate with the chocolate as well, but just to be sure, I like to make sure that the chocolate's really well heated. The other thing that you have to be careful about with this recipe is you don't want to add your eggs too soon after everything comes off the burner, because once again we're talking about keeping things about the same temperature. If your ingredients are too hot, you're going to scramble your eggs, so you have to be careful about that. So let's get our coffee out. And we're going to pour it over the chocolate. You can see it's steaming, which is great, perfect. And we're just going to stir it until it's all melted, and I see my margarine over there is starting to melt as well. So I used a little larger bowl so I have enough room to stir this to mix it, because you don't want it splashing all over your countertop. And then to finish this, while this is baking, we're going to be showing you how to finish this cake. So this cake has to be refrigerated for at least a few hours or even overnight. It's really great to make this the day before, honestly, because it bakes a long time, and if you can get it cold the night before, then you don't have to worry about it the next day. And then we're going to be coating it with a dark chocolate ganache. And ganache is a chocolate fudge that's made with equal parts chocolate and heavy cream. But since we want this to be a non-dairy dessert, we make a chocolate glaze. So our chocolate glaze is made with chocolate that's chopped up like our chocolate chips, water, corn syrup, and some margarine. And you'll see it's really nice and shiny. It's delicious. You can't tell that it doesn't have dairy. And so then you're helping anybody who needs certain requirements as far as their food allergies are concerned. We're very conscious of helping people with food allergies because we know so many people in today's world either are gluten-free or they're vegan or they have a soy allergy. So we like to try and accommodate all of those allergies so that people can still have a delicious dessert. We've done entire wedding cakes that have been soy-free. We've done entire wedding cakes that are gluten-free. And kind of getting known for that. So all of our margarine has melted. I'm going to add all of the sugar. I turned the burner off, but it's still hot. And this gives the sugar a little bit of time to kind of cook. If you put the sugar in too soon, it kind of crystallizes and it makes it very hard to get it out of the pot. So we have chosen to wait until all the margarine is melted and then add the sugar to it and just combine it. So I'm going to just show you. It kind of looks like it's separated, but it's not. And we're going to put it in our mixer with the paddle. Just going to stir it a little bit more on the burner. And this extra large mixer has been so great. I really love it. It's one of my newer additions to my kitchen. So we're pouring all of this in. That just tells me that my oven is preheated to 400 degrees. It sings to me now, which is very nice. I mean, you know, it's better than a buzzer. Okay. And we want to scrape it out really well. I don't want to lose any drops of any ingredient. And you have to remember that on electric, that burner is still hot. So now we will put it back on our mixer. Okay. And I'm going to turn it on and let it turn for, you know, a couple spins, not too high, pretty low speed. I want it to start to incorporate and get off some of the heat, some of the steam, and we're going to add the chocolate. So it's good that you have a deep mixer bowl because it does splash a little bit. So go slow and get it all in there. And there's some little lumps of chocolate left. It doesn't matter. It'll be fine because it's all going to melt in with this margarine mixture. There's plenty of heat in here, so it'll be fine. So we can just put this off to the side. And I always try and keep a damp towel with me because baking can be very messy, and I am very messy, so I try and stay as clean as possible. So I feel the bottom of the bowl to see how hot it is. If it really feels too hot, like if I can't hold it with my hand, it's too hot. Give it another minute or so, but I'm used to hot temperatures, so take your time with this. And then we're going to add 4 eggs one at a time. And that's a good method really for a lot of things, to let each egg incorporate slowly. My eggs have been sitting out a little bit, so they're a little bit more room temperature, which is always good. It's good if you can get all of your ingredients to room temperature before you start. It will help your final product. It's So that's what we call mise en place, when we put everything out that we need for the recipe so we don't forget anything, which I do sometimes. And then you go back and you go, oh, I forgot to put that in, and then you remember to put it in. So you can always kind of correct your own mistakes if you have everything ready and you can see it. So the eggs are mixing. You don't have to mix it very long, especially you don't want to mix it long, and you don't want to use whisks or a whip because you don't want a lot of air bubbles to come into your batter. So I have another baking pan, which my cake pan will fit into. This is going to get the water, and all of this batter is going to go into this pan. So you can see it's very liquid, not a lot of bubbles. And wait until you taste this. This is, I think, one of the best desserts that we've ever made. It's so popular, it's so delicious, and it fits all the bills for everybody in your family, your friends, whatever their food allergies might be. You can serve it to everyone. So we are a kosher bakery, and because of that, we do a lot of non-dairy products, but especially for Passover, you can't use any regular flour. So this is one of the cakes that we make all the time for Passover. But we make it all year round just because people love it so much. So, all right, it's all in there. I'm gonna get some water and fill this up a little bit, put it in the oven, and then fill it with some more water so we can make sure that it has plenty. It should fill up about halfway up your cake pan. So we'll be right back while I get my water and get ready to put it in the oven. Okay, so I have water in my pitcher, which makes it easy to pour it. Makes not too much of a mess. So I'm putting a little bit in. I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'm going to put some more water on top so that I get to about the halfway mark on my cake pan. And we're baking this in the middle of the oven. So I used about a quart of water to fill it up. So we're going to set the timer for 30 minutes. And at that point, we're going to take it, we're going to check to make sure it doesn't need any more water, and we're going to lower the temperature to 350, and it's going to bake another 30 minutes. Depends on your oven. It may be done within the 1 hour range, or it may take another 45 minutes to finish. You can tell. We're going to show you how to touch it, and if it feels firm on the top, it's probably fine. And then it has to go in your refrigerator, as I said, at least a couple of hours or overnight. So, of course, I have finished one already, and I want to show you how it comes out of the pan and how you get it out of the pan. So I told you that we put the cake on a piece of parchment paper, which you can see on the bottom here. So when you take it out of your pan, it's going to be right side up, but you have to get the paper off the bottom. And the way I get it out of the pan is by doing the following things. So let me show you my pan. So I'm not going to put it back in the pan, I'm going to pretend that it's in the pan. And I take my pan and I actually put it on my burner, and I turn it on the burner about 20 or 30 times, I actually count. And then I take my little offset spatula and I go all around the very edge until it seems like it's moving a little bit. And then I take a bigger cake board or another plate, whatever you have, but I have a cake board. If you just have a plate, you might want to cover it in saran wrap so it won't stick to the plate. This already has a plastic coating, so I don't have to worry about it too much. Put it on your cake pan, you turn it over, and sometimes you have to kind of tap it all the way around to get it to come out. If it doesn't come out right away, put it back on the burner. But this way, you have kept it from any water getting inside. If you have a spring-formed pan, you can use it, but you need to wrap the pan in aluminum foil very tightly and then put it in the water bath. So it's kind of worth it to get a closed bottom pan. They're a little bit heavier duty. They bake a little bit nicer. I recommend it. But whatever you have, use it and enjoy it. So now we have it out of the pan. We're going to turn it over. We're going to take the parchment paper off, and you can see it's kind of gooey, but that's just because it's a very yummy, creamy dessert. Now we like to put the chocolate ganache on it when it's upside down like this, but it's on a bigger board, so I am actually going to move it onto a smaller board so that the chocolate ganache doesn't run all over the place. And this so you want to elevate the cake so that when you pour the ganache over it, it goes onto another pan that you can capture it again, use it again. You don't have to throw it away. So let me just move this for you. So it moves, the top is pretty easy to slide, so it will slide right onto a smaller board. And this is our chocolate glaze or our chocolate ganache. So this is non-dairy. I've already melted it in the microwave. You can make this in advance, put it in your refrigerator. It gets hard like a fudge, and then you put it in your microwave for maybe 1 minute, maybe a little less. And sometimes you might want to add just a little bit of water to it to make it flow a little bit more easily. So I have a little bit of my water left, I think. No, I'm going to get a little water. So I just want to add a little bit to make it flow a little bit more easily. Because it's very thick and very rich. So you want it to go on nicely, but you don't want it to be so much. So you can see it's kind of mixing in. Here it goes, almost done. Okay. Look at this chocolate deliciousness. I mean, this is amazing. So we use a very good dark chocolate, a bittersweet chocolate, but you can use any chocolate you like or your chocolate chips, it will work. And we're just gonna pour it all over the top of this cake. All right, here we go. So I pour around the edges and it drips right over the top, a little bit in the middle. We have some extra. Take my offset spatula, sweep off any extra. You can go around the edges to make it smooth. And you can kind of give it a little bounce, get it a little bit smoother. So then we're going to bring back our bigger cake board. And I'm going to leave it on the one that it's already on, but now I'm just going to move it onto a bigger one so it looks nicer. And you can put a little bit of the chocolate there to hold it in place, because it will tend to slide. I'm going to push it in the middle. There we go. Chocolate's messy. It's fun, but be careful, because when you have a white jacket on, you have to be really careful. So I'm going to move this off to the side. And then I thought it would be fun to show you some ways to decorate this cake. So people love chocolate, and I've made some chocolate ribbons to make a chocolate bow on the top of the cake, which when you see how easy it is to do this, you'll be amazed. So we started using pieces of plastic that you can see. We melted some chocolate, put it on here, folded it in half. It's cold now, so we're going to unmold all of these pieces. So each one at a time. So I usually use about 8 to 10 loops. And you can use parchment paper, you can use page protectors, you know, that have a little heavy plastic. They work really well. If you do something with the heavier plastic, you're going to need a clip or something to hold it together because it will separate pretty easily. So these little tails that I cut, you know, like a regular ribbon, so I put them first, and then each one of these you start putting on the dessert. So you do them like the hands of the clock, 12, 3, 6, 9, and then you do the second ones in between the first ones. And a couple extra ones in the middle. Just broke one. That's why I always make extra, just in case. And you can use the chocolate ganache to stick it. Okay, I'm just going to get a little powdered sugar. Okay, so just a little dab of powdered sugar just to make it look really beautiful. And then that's our unbelievably delicious chocolate heaven dessert. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Diane from Diane's Patisserie. You can call me with any questions you may have trying to make this, 609-502-4073, 609-560-4111. And our website, you can always leave messages and we can send you the recipe. Don't be shy. Just call or ask for whatever you need, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoy eating this dessert because it's really fabulous. Let me know. See you soon. Bye.